it's a deeper thing. So, Dom?
Deep.
Yeah, I mean, just just in hearing you talk and hearing Wally converse, um, it's from my perspective, I'm just trying to think of what the best way is about it because it's definitely an issue with guys. We saw it first and foremost in the bubble here this year. Guys were only able to really focus on hockey. And you could see just they came in and they were like a shell of themselves because they weren't able to do things outside of the game. And from a general manager's perspective, they thought, well, this is great. Guys are going to be able to focus on hockey. They're going to be able to do this, and to the point actually that they tried to restrict everything that they were doing from a standpoint of whether it was alcohol consumption or whether it was whatever it was. And you just saw, and again, it was an extreme situation, but you saw the individuals with like their joy of playing just dissipated, like to the point where they're just like, can I please just go home? Like I know I'm getting paid. I know there's a chance for me to go, and no one would ever say that because that would be career suicide. And I think the when you touched on it, it's identifying only as a hockey player, and with and I've seen it from the bottom up and in the top down. Like everything is specialized 12 months out of the year. Like I could run camps here 12 months of the year, no problem. There would always be somebody that would want to go on the ice. And so this big picture perspective and this holistic approach to being able to, for the individuals, it just isn't looked at. And so for me, I have three daughters. I have one of them now that is just getting into college recruiting, and they're doing district camps and they're doing all these types of things, and trying to give them a big picture perspective in regards to other interests. And you're right, there's, regardless if it's female hockey or if it's male hockey, like there's only a window where you're going to be able to play. And so the better you can prepare yourself with other interests, and it's a bit of a dance, because yes, you want to be committed to the sport that you're playing. Yes, you want to be focused, but and we have this approach with our players and I say it to our guys, I'm like, hey, listen, we need them to play at 7 o'clock on October 10th. We need them to focus at that point. They have to, and so, but you don't need them to focus for 24 hours a day up until that point. And you see it, like I saw it this year with the guys that, and again, the guys that were, they were eating right, they were doing everything to the letter, absolutely everything to the letter, but their on ice performance was less than optimal, and so I guess it's and it comes from the coaches, and it comes from management, but to be able to have a better big picture perspective, so that while you're playing, for sure, but especially when you're not, like there needs to be a better way to be able to kind of diversify your interests, per se. And I think if the team is really interested in, because ultimately the team only cares about their on ice performance. That's it, right? Like that's it. Like, you're getting paid $8 million a year, you better score. Now, why aren't you scoring? Right? Oh, well, you went out and you did this and you did that. If they really had a big picture perspective, they would invest in to be able to have these different experiences and be able to develop players in other aspects, as opposed to seeing it pulling away, but actually for their end result. So I don't know. I'm not sure what the solution is. I guess it's just more of a statement more than anything.
I just love what you had to say, Dominic. And in my first conversation with Wally, I was pointing out something about the Calgary Flames organization that I did not like. And it came out really, I was angry when I found out that the Calgary Flames did not want to put up a banner or they did not, well, they put up a banner, but they did not want to celebrate the fact that the Calgary Flames had won that the Pacific Division, and they didn't want to celebrate it. And I thought, I mean, they were upset because they got kicked out of the first round of the playoffs that year, but so did the Lightning. You know, they didn't get through either, and they also won their division as well. And I just thought, God, these people, do they think? I mean, the players are human. They're not machines. I know it's a business, but you still need people to have a business. Without the players, you don't have a business. So I was angry. And even when the Stampeders won their last Grey Cup, it was the same thing. Not everybody who was named on the roster got a Grey Cup ring. And I was upset over that too, because again, everybody is contributing. They got to play sometime during the season to get them to where they were. So yeah, this whole thing about, I mean, it dehumanizes, and I don't like that. And I want to bring humanity back into these games. I mean, yes, it's business, but you cannot discount somebody's feelings. And because people aren't scoring, they're not performing, yeah, they're definitely having a personal crisis. There's a personal crisis going on. And they're not going to get out of it simply because they're going to be told to shake out of it, or being asked the question, why aren't you scoring? Why aren't you performing? It's not enough to say that.
I was gonna follow up on Dom's comment, about the players and having balance and perspective. As we all know, it's arguably even tougher for coaches to maintain some balance. We don't get to go out on the ice and perform. We get to spend 24 hours, seven days a week, thinking we have to unturn every stone to make some kind of little difference in the way our team's been performing or some players have been performing. So it's even more difficult in lots of ways for coaches to maintain balance and perspective. And the Cody Royal, the author of that Tough Stuff book, he speaks about that a lot, and I think we're all familiar with that. But really, one of the toughest things to learn as a young coach is, for you to have a free mind and get some exercise and have some balance in your life. It's going to make you a more livable person. It's going to directly translate to your players. If you're enjoying yourself and you're balanced, nothing worse than a coach that you can see is frazzled and overwrought and stressed out. That directly translates to your team as well. So lots of ways even tougher for coaches, I think, than players.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I agree with 100% with you, Tim, and I saw it firsthand. Again, just kind of echoing your point. Families were away from guys, and guys were literally at the rink. Coaches were literally at the rink from coming at workout at 5:30, and then they were there because the big team was playing. They would be there till the game was over at 11 o'clock at night, and then back again. And we literally had a meeting as a staff, and just said, hey, listen, like, we need to get away from the rink. We need to get outside. We need to, and it was, I chuckled a little bit. One of the junior coaches that we were taking their office over for during the time, he had a light spectrum, like for vitamin D, one of these light spectrum. He's like, you're going to need this. And so, nice. The thing is, in Calgary, the one thing that, Calgary is the most sunshine for, 300 and, I don't know, somebody gave me the stat, 350 days out of the year is blue skies and whatever else have you. And the fact that you needed this blue spectrum light or whatever, the spectrum light, to me, I was like, holy smokes, fellas, take 20 minutes, take your lunch, go outside and walk around for a little bit. Like, really? You can't spare 20 minutes? But it's not just that staff in particular, but it's just the culture of what it is. And I think a little bit is an NFL culture, is that, the Bill Belichick's, like, he's there from 6 in the morning till 6 at night, and they're grinding through video and looking through it and everything on that side of things. And at the end of the day, you're dealing with people, right? And my experience from the beginning of my coaching career, just finished from playing, I was at my desk and never was face to face with anybody. And then I would try to give I ran the power play, and I would try to give some direction on the bench, and I'd look at the players. I'm like, I am just like, I have no idea what this player's thinking, because I have no idea what this player is, what they're about, right? And so it changed over the 6 years that I've coached, to the point where I make sure, like, yes, sure, there's things that need to be done after a game in regards to watching it potentially. Like, for me, it's the power play, watching it a second time. But for the most part, and again, to me, is getting to know my players. So during the game, they know where I'm coming from, and that I'm coming from a place where I want to help. And now there's interaction, and now there's that ability. So I see that guys that are stuck behind their computers and just, trying to show, so they can show a couple clips, and from our side of it, the players watched it already. To me, it's more about, okay, you watched your shifts, but let's talk about it. And then now you need to have the relationship there. And again, sorry for kind of diverting a little bit, but I agree, Tim. It's a fine line, because you do need to do, the video side of it for sure. But to me, the most important piece is the individual connection, and that's at times lost.
I mean, is this something that has changed over the decades? Was it always like? I mean, okay, we didn't have all the technology, of course, but has it always been like this, where you don't get to know your players?
Okay, go, Matt, you've got your hand up.
Or I guess, as you guys having